Billy Napier, Rob Sale, Jonathan DeCoster, whoever on the staff listens to this show, because I know at least one of you do, go into the transfer portal and go get me Jason Zandamela.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free right in the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Wednesday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. And we're talking about the transfer portal because it opened yesterday. It was nuts. Also, yesterday, I forget who it was. Someone tweeted at me the intro that they like the old one because it got you hyped. Like I said, I could see walk behind that one. This one I can't, but that's on me to get you hyped then, right? So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk Jason Zandamela first out of the transfer portal. Top 50 consensus player in the 2024 class out of USC. 2024 class, which means he went through the spring and entered the transfer portal as the number one interior offensive lineman on 24/7. Usually, we see a kid commit to a school, go through a spring and bounce, and we're like, oh, there's a lot of red flags here. Don't like that one, but that's really just not the case this time around. Jason Zandamela is initially from Mozambique, moved to Florida when he came over to the U.S. with his family, went to USC, committed to USC and went there. And ultimately through the spring decided that he doesn't want to be far from home. Like he said, he wants to be close to Clearwater, I believe it is, that he's going to consider Florida, Florida State, Miami, UCF, like all the in-state schools. That's where he's going to favor. So right away, Florida, you're in contention there, and you should take advantage of that. And he's an interior offensive lineman. I know that for a lot of people, guard is what we're looking at. Jason Zandamela, I am not talking about him as a Damian George replacement, anything like that. I am talking about Jason Zandamela because he's a center that can be a multi-year starter for you. That's what I want. Like, that's what I want you to go get. If it's there, I would consider him an extension of the high school recruiting class. Like, I would treat him the same way I'm going to treat Amir Jackson as a mid-year enrollee. That's how I'm going to do it, even though he's more of a Jameer Grimsley situation of like, went to college, had to enter the transfer portal. But for Jason Zandamela, I'm going to consider him more like an extension of the 2024 class if he were to become a Florida Gators commit. Now, I think that with Jason Zandamela, you can add him. If you can get him to commit to you, get him to commit to you. You add him, you put him behind Jake Slaughter for however long Jake Slaughter is going to be here. If I'm not mistaken, Jake Slaughter has this year and next year, and then he has to go to the NFL or he has to be just done playing college football. But if I'm not mistaken, or if not mistaken, he has those 2 years. He can definitely go after this year if he wanted to. He can go to the NFL, can wait another year, and then go. And by that point, if you're a multi-year starter, I don't see a reason for you to stay. But Jason Zandamela can come in, be behind Jake Slaughter, and then you get to do what I've been begging you to do. And you get to take Rod Kearney, who was a stone cold killer at guard in high school, who I still believe has the physical skill set and the tools to play guard at the college level, and you can play Rod Kearney at guard full time. Have Jake Slaughter starting center, Jason Zandamela backup center, Rod Kearney guard that can play center in a pinch if you need someone. That gives the Florida Gators interior offensive line a lot of versatility. Like you can add, let's just talk purely in the future. Not even worry about this year. Purely in the future. Kanaji Harris, Jason Zandamela, Rod Kearney, Bryce Lovett. That gives you 4 guys that can play on the interior of your offensive line and kind of be the focal point of the interior of your offensive line. And they can play multiple spots. Najee Harris can play both guard spots. We know that. And then in high school, he played center. Rod Kearney, guard, high school, moved to center as a freshman. And again, fully believe that he can play both spots in a pinch if you need. Bryce Lovett played tackle in high school. I wouldn't want him there at all at the SEC level, but guard, either guard spot, I do believe he can play. Jason Zandamela, center that should be able to play guard spots if he needs to, but he's like the guy that I think of as just put him at center, set it and forget it. Like just put him at center, let him develop, let him work, let him grow, consider it like we're going to talk about finance in a little bit. Consider it like finance. Like it's one of those things where you just set and you just let the dividends grow. And that's what you can do with someone like Jason Zandamela behind Jake Slaughter. If that's a year and then Jason Zandamela starts, fine. If that's 2 years and then Jason Zandamela starts, that's amazing to have 2 years of development behind a good center. Like you can, and I know Jason Zandamela does not address an immediate need for 2024 unless you consider it as Jason Zandamela comes in, he's your backup center, Rod Kearney goes to guard, and Rod Kearney's in the guard rotation. Then sure, you can consider that Jason Zandamela would make an impact indirectly on the 2024 season for the Florida Gators. And sure, this coaching staff is not guaranteed to be here in 2025. And so you can say that this is taking kind of a luxury player, but here's the way that I'm going to look at it and the way that I think you should look at it, because I do think it's the correct way to look at this. When you look at Jason Zandamela, you're not talking about adding someone from the transfer portal. Yes, he's technically in the transfer portal, but you should be talking about him as a mid-year enrollee. So if he was someone that committed to Florida in late November, early December, signed in December, and was like, hey, I'm going to be a mid-year enrollee, have to graduate, whatever it is, you wouldn't hate that if you brought him in. Like, you wouldn't be like, oh, well, you don't have the luxury of worrying about long-term projects. No, you wouldn't say that, right? Because look at him as a high school extension here, not a transfer portal play. It's the same way that I looked at someone like Jameer Grimsley, Deuce Spurlock, even a couple years ago, went through his true freshman year. And when he came to Florida, at Michigan, when he came to Florida, I was like, I don't look at him as someone that I'm expecting anything from anytime soon. I'm expecting him to be a long developer. So that's the same way I would look at Jason Zandamela. And again, you could add a top 50 player from the 2024 class. Florida had what, 2 or 3 of them this year in the top 50? No, it's for sure LJ and DJ. But you can add more to your 2024 class. Do it if you can. I don't care if he spent a semester at USC. Improve your football team. This is a talent acquisition business. Jason Zandamela has said, I want to be nearby to home. You're about as nearby as you could possibly get outside of what, a community college? Go get him. Like there's no reason to not go get him. We are about to talk about some other players. We are indeed going to stick on the offensive side of the ball. But first, a quick word from Monopoly Go. I don't know about you. I have indeed been told before that I'm a pretty competitive person. Anything I'm doing, I want to win. I don't care what it is. If it's pick up basketball, I don't care if it was when I used to play football. I don't care if I'm playing beer pong. I want to win everything. That's it. My competitive side, big fan of Monopoly Go. And I'm sure you've heard of it. I've talked about it before. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in just bonkers locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. Best part, I get to screw with my friends, right? I can charge them rent. I can rob vaults for myself. Leaderboards tell me that I'm better than them, and that's a fun part. It's not just my competitive side that loves it, though, because I do get to team up with friends, so collaborative effort. It's really fun there. Get in on the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now free on the Apple Store or Google Play. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And we're going to spend the rest of the show talking about two receivers. And I know that I think it was Parth. I think you kind of riffed on me a little bit yesterday because I said I forgot the name of the player. And I was like, the hyphenate from Penn State. KeAndre Lambert-Smith officially entered the transfer portal yesterday. And we do have the confirmation that Florida has contacted KeAndre Lambert-Smith. This is one of those players where, because I want to remind everyone when we talk about the transfer portal, what you're looking for when you're grabbing these guys that you are expecting to contribute immediately. I think that there's two levels of the transfer portal. There's guys we're expecting to contribute immediately and guys that we're looking at as extensions of high school classes. And so for me, a lot of guys that I'm talking about as extension of high school class is the guys who either haven't played their freshman year yet or just got through their true freshman season. Whether that means they redshirted in that season or played, they have 1 year max. Okay. Those are the guys that I look at as extensions of college players of the high school class. You can kind of take levels with that. When you're looking at guys that we want to contribute immediately, you want people who were proven starters on Power 5 or Group of 5 schools, and Group of 5 looking for a step up. Power 5, maybe it's an NIL thing, whatever it may be. They're looking to change schools. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for guys looking for this step up, or if there was a coaching change and they leave, whatever it may be. KeAndre Lambert-Smith, there's I guess a desire from him that he wants to be in an offense where he can be featured, and he wants to be in an offense that has an experienced quarterback. And I want to nip this one in the bud too, because he wants to be in an offense that's featured. I don't want you to think that means that he's looking for 150 touches. He wants to be used in an offense that can use him the way that he thinks he should be used. And I think that that's relevant because, again, the two things: he wants to be in an offense where he can be featured, and he wants an experienced quarterback. Penn State went out this year and they got Andy Kotelnicki to be their offensive coordinator from Kansas. Really fun offense. We talked about him on the show as me saying that Florida, Billy Napier should go after him if it was possible. So we've talked about Andy Kotelnicki before. That's a fun offense. It is. It's not one that's really going to force feed a receiver or even give you design timing routes, design timing passes, whatever it may be that makes KeAndre Lambert-Smith feel like he's going to get the ball consistently. And Drew Aller at quarterback isn't inexperienced. He's been a starter. But when you're putting him in a brand new offense, he's learning a new language. Like we saw Graham Mertz said it last year. He was like, it's like you're going to a new country and you're trying to learn their language. And it's really different and it's really difficult. And I think maybe that's what we're seeing where I don't think that he was bashing Drew Aller at all. It's just you're in a new offense. This isn't like something that you're comfortable with. You're going through a lot. And so for KeAndre Lambert-Smith, he could step in and just play receiver in this offense. As far as an offense that's going to use him right, KeAndre Lambert-Smith was used mostly on the outside. He's mostly playing as an outside receiver, flexed out. Capable of playing in the slot, but I don't think that he would be used like that too much. He's about 6'1", 190. So I'm not saying he can't do it. I just don't think he would be used that much. He runs a lot of in-breaking routes over the middle of the field, whether they were digs, slants, whatever, posts, whatever they may be. He ran a lot of routes over the middle of the field. I don't know if you know this, but Billy Napier has tendencies, I guess we'll say, a reputation of loving in-breaking routes. He loves running the digs. He loves running crossers. He does. And we all know it, right? And I don't mind it. I know that there are some people that get kind of bored with it of like, who cares about this? It's we know what it is. It's boring, whatever. If it works, it works, right? KeAndre Lambert-Smith is someone that wants to be used in that way. So if KeAndre Lambert-Smith wants to be used in that way, at Penn State, he proved he was pretty good at being used in that way. Dynamic playmaker. Why wouldn't you look at him, right? And again, like we know that Florida has contacted him. That's something that we can confirm. Whether there's a ton of interest in him or not, or a ton of interest from him or not, remains to be seen. However, if he truly, again, the reason that he gave, I think it was on 3, was that he wants to be featured in an offense or in an offense that can feature him, and he wants to play with an experienced quarterback. If you're looking at that and you're truly looking at that, and it's not like an NIL thing or whatever it may be, why would Florida not be the place that at least interests you? I'm not saying you got to commit there. I'm saying, but at least interests you, right? If what you said is true, Florida fits both of those, especially when you look at the receiver room and you know that Florida doesn't feel awesome about their receivers for 2024, 2025 and beyond. Great. Like they've stacked talent there. But for 2024, they're still looking for guys to step up and impress them and kind of earn those roles. And so, the opportunity's there for you to start straight up. Who would he replace? Either Khalil Jackson or Chimere Dike. That's it. The only person that we know is going to start is Eugene Wilson III. That's it. So KeAndre Lambert-Smith, if you are actually interested in being in an offense with an experienced quarterback, a 6th-year senior is pretty good at that, and you're looking for an offense where you can be featured, an offense that has starting spots available at both outside receiver spots, runs a lot of in-breaking routes, can fit your needs there, you got to be interested in Florida at least, right? Especially when, if I'm not mistaken, he can just come for a year, ball out, go to the NFL draft. Like, it's not even like he needs to worry about will Billy Napier still be there long term. So for KeAndre Lambert-Smith, I feel like you have to be at least somewhat interested in Florida if the things you said you're looking for are truly all you're looking for. We are going to stick with another hyphenate at receiver, believe it or not. But first, we're going to get a quick word from Yahoo Finance. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Yahoo Finance. And when it comes to your financial future, you kind of think you've done it all. You've saved, you've researched, you've invested all that you can. Now you need to take those investments to the next level by using what every financial great uses, Yahoo Finance. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or you're looking for just a little bit of extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. They're the #1 financial destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, which the part that I like. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I used to work in finance, so I enjoy this kind of stuff. I enjoy this information. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com, the #1 financial destination. That's yahoofinance.com, YAHOO, finance.com. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. The only one that's available daily and free covering the Florida Gators. Just saying. We are going to wrap up today's show by talking about Justus Ross-Simmons. So again, we have our second hyphenate of the day. We have no short names today. Everyone has a long name. That's the approach that we're taking here. Justus Ross-Simmons is coming from Colorado State. He would be reuniting with Clay Millen, the Florida Gators quarterback that came over from Colorado State during the winter transfer portal window. So immediately there, you have to figure Florida in good position if they want to go after him. Okay? Just based on connecting those dots. Like your QB left, you're leaving. Why not reunite with your QB? We understand Clay Millen is not a starter, probably not going to be even in the competition for next year, really. But that's besides the point. We're talking about relationship here. Clay Millen, Justus Ross-Simmons, you have to consider that, right? Also, then when Justus Ross-Simmons hits the transfer portal, he said he's interested in Florida and is probably going to visit next week. So we already have someone that wants to visit Florida. It's almost exclusively an outside receiver. Played about, I think it was like 97% of his snaps on the outside. 6'3", 205 pounds. I think we know which spot he would be competing for starting. I think that it would be Khalil Jackson. I think that they're similar types of receivers, or similar build receivers, and I think that that's likely the competition that we'll see there. So you don't have just too many tall guys that can run and win contested catches, which, by the way, Justus Ross-Simmons is not awesome at. But he'd probably be competing for that spot. I do think that Justus Ross-Simmons has pretty decent vertical speed. I don't know if he's going to really shake and bake guys, but if you get him the ball and he's running straight, I think he can outrun defenders there. That's what I'm asking you to do. I don't think everybody has it in them to be, oh, he juked 3 guys, hit a spin move, a stiff arm, and he's gone. Like, I think that's the kind of special receiver that, like when we watch Trey Wilson run the ball after he catches it. You see the jukes, you see the I don't even know what you want to call them, but he just does these like wild moves where it's like the back juke, the back step, whatever, step back, if you want to call it that. And then he just breaks and goes and accelerates. And it's like stuff like that where it's like, all right, you're different. And I think Justus Ross-Simmons doesn't have that level, but I do think that he does something pretty fun, where he'll kind of see the angle that the defender's taking, and then he'll just pick it into that next gear and then kind of destroy your angle. It's a big, Bo Jackson said it where he was like, I saw their angles and I raised them acceleration. Because that's how you beat a good tackle angle. You maybe slow down a little bit, get them to bend the angle a little bit, and then you speed up and you throw everything off with their math. Yeah, math. That's really football. And so I think Justus Ross-Simmons can come in right away and contribute. And he's another guy that was used quite a bit on in-breaking routes. Again, that offense just loved in-breaking routes. They ran levels a lot. And they ran mesh. Like they liked the underneath in-breaking routes. Justus Ross-Simmons did that as well. I think he ran more digs than drags, as opposed to Torrey Horton, who ran more drags as opposed to digs. But I think that Justus Ross-Simmons, that makes you a better fit right here for Florida. Like, again, Billy Napier freaking loves his digs. You go 10 to 12 yards, break in and go, and he wants the ball to be there for you. And so I think Justus Ross-Simmons gives you that ability to have a receiver there that you can rely on to do that. Again, 6'3", 205. We know he can work vertical. We know he can run in breakers. What's not to like about this? And we know that he's interested in Florida. We know that Florida's interested in him. If I had to predict one guy who winds up at Florida after one day of the transfer portal, I would say it's Justus Ross-Simmons. It's just like the math is mathing in this case. And so I think Justus Ross-Simmons is someone that Florida Gators fans should at least get familiar with, because I do think that it's a legitimate possibility he's going to be a Florida Gator in the second transfer portal window. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And we will be back tomorrow, just so you know. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants, Country, and NFL 33, and I will see you all next time.